Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. We are live and we are celebrating today. But I do want to just kind of do a bit of an introduction. This is the weekly success circle for solopreneurs. We get together because we enjoy each other's company and we like exchanging ideas and information. For me, it's all about giving and receiving support. My name is Lowell Ann, and I've been in business since 1996, helping people get where they want to go. So it's a good idea for us to just remember that we have a few operating principles: relationships before business. And you can do everything in life and business if you help enough other people get what they want. And of course, we know that's Zig Ziglar's quote. We stand for positive possibilities and and keep an open mind. And we never sell anything we're not prepared to deliver impeccably. So our viewers, current and or future, will want to know who we have in the green room this morning. So I will invite everyone to say their name and tell where you are and what you do, and share with us your good news. Then that might be a discovery or a win or a learning or something that just kind of gets your fancy. So normally what I do is I invite whoever got here first to start. So Heidi and Mark, that's you this morning.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Lowell Ann. I'm Mark Davenport, and I think there's many people here that I haven't actually met before, but you should know that I am 1/3 of this twosome here. That means she does most of the work, Heidi. And and what's we've done a lot of shows together too, but what I particularly am really happy about is we just got back from an international European conference on integral in Hungary, and I was pleased to present with Heidi uh, a talk on integral aging, is what we call it. What about us folks, who have 30 or 40 more years of real life, maybe more life than we actually spent working, raising families, buying houses, etc. And we want something more than what old age has been offering us in the recent past, with nursing homes, etc. We just assume create that ourselves. And that was what we were talking about. It was well received. We're happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that we just came from the conference, and so we are still full of it.
Yeah.
So our show, which we do together, is the Wisdom Factory, where we try to bring the integral mindset to normal people who have never heard about integral by interviewing people who are operating inside of the integral mindset. So it's about everything. And lately we did a series about relationships, and we are working on a relationship course for the second half of life. I think this is enough for. We are in Italy, by the way, for it's evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and welcome to both of you. I really am so happy that you're here. I invited you because I knew that you two were old timers when it came to Hangouts, and I really wanted to include somebody that I got to know in my early days of doing Hangouts. And just by a way of introduction of how that happened, I've been interested in integral for a number of years, and that was how I got interested in what Heidi and Mark were doing, was because of my interest in integral. But then, since then, I've discovered that Heidi and I also have a very common interest, and that's in music. And so I really love watching some of the things that she posts. She's into much more kind of formal kind of music than I am, because I sing in a sort of a local choir here, and we do all sorts of things. But to my mind, anybody else who loves music, we've all got something in common. So I do welcome both of you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank
You
you.
bet. Thanks.
Yeah. So I think the next person who came on was Anna. How would you like to introduce yourself, Anna? We're not hearing you, Anna. So while she fixes her system, maybe we could go on to Wewek. I think you were the next one that came on. How would you like to take the floor?
Oh, namaste.
Wow, we're not hearing Vivek either. What's happening?
Welcome to your 100th Hangout.
Well, I'm glad we can hear you, Craig. How would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Craig, and I run a business called Who Marketing. I'm here in Western New York, actually. While the rest of you are West Coasters, I'm just stuck here in Western New York. So, but I help small businesses with their online presence. So that's what I'm all about. And this last month, I've been learning all about pest control. So,
Oh, because that's a new client, I guess.
I have a new client that's operating in the pest control niche. So.
Aha. Interesting. I was looking at. I think you shared some of the pictures that you put on there, and I thought they were just fabulous. Oh dear. So let's see. Paul, how about you? I wonder if we will be able to hear you.
Well, let's try it.
Oh yes, we can hear you.
Seems to be a go. Hi, I'm Paul. I'm in sunny downtown, well, sunny Cook Street Village in Victoria on Vancouver Island. And yes, wonderful place to live. And I'm what am I? Oh, I'm always on the march to stamp out sales breath. I guess that's my ambition in life. And I have a little celebration I had on the weekend too. I managed to have a birthday click over successfully because I'm still hanging around. And that's it.
Well, of course, that would be what, your 25th?
You sure are good looking, but you can't count.
Well, you know, Paul, I always say what you do with birthdays, once you get to a certain point, instead of keeping going in that direction, you turn around and go in the other direction.
Yeah. Sometimes I think our actions mimic that as well. We get more childlike as we get older.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Great.
Right on. So thank you for joining Paul this morning. Welcome as usual. And my reason for doing the big thumbs up, we live in the same kind of area of Victoria. So
we're hoodies.
Yes, we're hoodies. So good morning, Anna. Well, how would you like to introduce yourself?
I'll try that again. I rebooted my Hangout. Okay. My name is Anna Fernandez, and I'm in sunny Mazatlan, but I will be in beautiful Victoria in less than 3 weeks.
Whoa! Let's plan a walk.
Yes. My company is medevacana.com, and I specialize in travel protection plans and health insurance plans for expats. And I'm working on a new site to be launched before my 60th birthday in July called thesolosnowbird.com.
Right on. Well, that's going to be fun. You think you're going to make your deadline?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm a third of the way through building the site, so it should be no problem.
Right on. That's cool. So, Weewick, I'm not sure. It looks like he is still messing around, and we lost Jay. He fell out. So I wonder what that's all about. I think I think Google Chrome is very unstable right now. It seems. In terms of lower thirds and all kinds of things. Last week, I think what I did was I had to go come in through using Firefox, but I didn't this morning, and maybe I should have. So, Weewick, let's see if we can hear you.
Yeah, namaste.
We lost you. Isn't that strange? We got the voice, and then we didn't have it.
What I did, Lolan, was I went in and cleared my cache on my Chrome, and then restarted the Hangouts. Like logged right back into Gmail all the way through.
Okay. So there's a piece of advice that might work. So somebody's texting me over here and on a different window. So pardon me if I'm looking back and forth. I've got two screens here to keep track of. So this morning, anyway, I think we'll just carry on here, and people will come in and do what they can as they will. So this morning, I thought it would be really fun for us to look at all of us, because we've all been doing these kinds of things for a while. Yes, this is my 100th Hangout, and that's worth celebrating. But I was very curious to know. I guess it really made me look back and try to think about, well, what brought me here? What made me want to do this? And so then, as I started thinking about everybody else, I was feeling kind of curious about that. So I'm just thinking that I might start us off by kind of sharing with you that this is a number of years ago now. Two other colleagues and I were running some Hangouts, or they weren't Hangouts then. We were doing these webinars for people. We were calling them boomers because we didn't want to use the word senior. That word's a no-no. So I see that. So we were calling people boomers, and we were running these sessions that would tell people how to handle and how to look for work as an older worker, and how to overcome some of those ways that people were treating us at that time. I feel as though things have changed a great deal in the meantime. But anyway, we were doing these, and we were doing them on a regular basis, but we found that we were spending most of our time messing around with the technology, and we never seemed to ever get to the topic, or as much as we wanted to. So we dropped away from that technology, and eventually I found Google+. And through just messing around and lurking and trying to figure out what what it was, how did it work. And then one day I found Ronnie Bincer, who was who still is the Hangout helper, and I hired him and had a session with him to learn something about Hangouts. So that was my beginning. And somewhere in those early days, I did some interviews with other solo entrepreneurs here in Victoria. And two other gals and I did a series on what we called Embrace Aging. But I really realized that what I really love to do is work with solopreneurs, and so that's how the Being Your Own CEO kind of Hangout series was born. And I've been on several different platforms, and I've landed on this one for a variety of reasons. But anyway, so that's my history, how I got here and what I wanted to do. And what I especially love about these Hangouts is all the people I've gotten to know. I mean, in this Hangout, I guess I met Anna locally and Paul locally and maybe Jay locally, but everybody else I've met on the internet through Hangouts. So I just love it. So what about, let's see, what about you, Anna? What attracted you to getting involved in this kind of thing?
Inspiration from others that have been there and done that. So learning from the experience is always the best. At our age, we realize that other people's experiences are beneficial. Well, not when you're 20, you think you know everything, but after 50 or maybe after 40, you realize you can learn from others. So basically that. I love the technology. I love technology, period. So the Hangouts technology really fascinates me, and I hope to incorporate that in the future myself.
So that whole learning experience, right? Expansion. Yeah. It's what it's all about. Expansion.
Yeah, and the sharing is incredible with this kind of group too. The different areas of knowledge everyone has, and the fact that they are willing to share this information that may otherwise we'd have to go out and seek and pay for. So it's awesome that way. I just love it, and thank you so much, everyone, for all your help.
Yes, and that's I agree with you. The whole sharing thing. Well, in Google, I found that in Google Plus generally that people are there and ready to step in and help the newbie get to where they want to go. Yeah. So Heidi and Mark, what about you? What? Because you folks came into the process right around the same time I did. What was it that attracted you?
I think I better respond because it was me.
Yes, it was.
We did with Margarita. We did a seminar or a course which was called the Confident Tailor Seminar Leader, where we should learn to speak in public, and we did it with tailor seminars. And we didn't want that. We said we want to try Google Hangouts. We want to try to be on video. Oh, it's my doggy here making a little bit fuss. So we began just to try out Hangouts. We had no idea of how this would work, and so we began. And then I also came across via Lisa Engels across Ronnie Bincer, and I immediately was fascinated about the technology, and I wanted to learn everything. And so by doing and having all these crises, things which happen, I learned. I had a place where I could ask, and then I found everybody in the community was so helpful. You know, it was really a great time of learning, and it is about 2.5 years ago. So since then, I think I did about, with Margarita, with him, with myself alone, I did about 200 or even more Hangouts and several blabs and so on. And I'm really fascinated to meet people in person, let's say. And I always find out when we had this contact on video, and then even now at the conference, we meet the people in person. That is seamless, you know. This is it's as if you know them for always. So it's a really great way of being in contact, in real contact. While when you have only the voice, yeah, it's not so good. So I'm really a big fan of technology, this sort of technology. Also, they're coming up all new stuff, and I don't know if I will follow everywhere, but so far I sort of love Hangouts because you never know. It's calling your creativity. You cannot rely completely, and so you have to overcome the problems, and it's challenging, but it's also rewarding to you know, to in a sort of spiritual growth, because you learn not to get into panic when things happen.
Yeah.
I think there's only been maybe 2 times when you haven't been able to complete a Hangout
Yeah,
for technical
less.
reasons.
Yeah,
maybe 1.
maybe only one.
Yeah.
So we always find a solution, or to begin another one, or go somewhere else, and you know.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I sure do hope that you folks will redo your presentation on aging integrally.
yeah,
that you did in Hungary.
We posted. We have a Facebook group because nobody of these people comes over to Google Plus, so we have opened a Facebook group and we have posted it there, and I will post it on my Google Plus profile very soon.
Very good. Right on.
And I invite everybody who is interested in this topic. We also have a survey to fill in the survey, because we really want to create a new culture, to co-create. I mean, we cannot do it alone. Co-create a new culture of being older and how we present ourselves, you know, and not accept what other people project on us. So, but we need to be together to do that.
That is so true. And for anybody else in the room here, the integral movement it's all based on the writings of Ken Wilber, who is a very famous American philosopher who's written, I don't know how many books. Maybe you folks know how many books he's written.
9, I believe.
I think about 30 books, and translated in 30 languages.
Yeah. And the integral movement, it seems to me anyway that it seems to have kind of taken off in Europe a little faster than it has in North America. I could be wrong on that, but I stumbled on it through some various connections that I have in the coaching world. Is how I found it. Yeah. So, Craig, what about you? You and I met. You just joined the Hangout here. So one day you came, I guess, because you knew Jay. But you're very active in a number of communities. So what drew you here?
Well, I think initially, I think Jay let me know that this was going on, and I came in just because I was curious. I think I watched a couple of episodes before I actually joined in, but I think I just had a connection with the people that were in here, so I decided to continue along, and I think it's been good for everybody. I think we've created some really good connections, and I thoroughly enjoy the people here. One of these days, I'm even going to get out to the West Coast and meet you all in real life.
Well, we keep referring to Craig as an honorary Victorian. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. But Craig, what about? We know how you got into this Hangout, but what about that whole online Google Plus Hangouts connecting in general? What sort of drew you to that in the first place?
Well, I got into Google itself, and I think I found Ronnie Bincer someplace along the line. I was trying to figure out how to use these Hangouts, mostly to connect with my clients. It seems like, you know, I have a group of people that I work with here locally, but my business is building websites and helping people get ranked on, you know, in their local area, and I don't necessarily work here locally. I mean, there are people in Portland and, you know, all over the country, that I actually work with, and I even have some people that I'm working with in New Zealand, and while the time zones can be a bit challenging there, I can never figure out what time it is in New Zealand. It's nice to be able to pull people together and have a conversation. You know, we had one where I was talking to somebody in New Zealand, somebody in Australia, somebody, I still haven't figured out where they are. They're in the Balkan area someplace, as well as somebody in New Mexico. So we brought all those people together at one time, and that was phenomenal in general. But the fact that we are able to use the technology to have that happen is just amazing. And I just love the fact that Google enables that for us, and they don't charge for it. So.
Yeah.
So I think just enabling communications between various parts of the world is a really great technology that, I mean, this is something that everyone should embrace, and I don't think any of the other platforms.
It goes together with a little bit with what Heidi and Mark were saying. You know, I mean, in a sort of a way, there is a bit of a culture here, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
So and I mean, if we all begin to think about co-creating a different way of doing things and a different way of thinking, God, maybe we could even bring about world peace.
Well,
now, how's that for a lofty goal?
At least share ideas internationally, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, it's great. So I just Craig, I thank you for coming and joining and supporting and hanging in there. It's always great to have you here.
Well, thanks for putting up with me.
So Jay, what about you? I mean, I know you're an old-time online guy, but
Did you just call me an old-timer?
So,
he's the baby of the family.
And Jay, you dropped out and didn't get a chance to introduce yourself, so there for a minute. So you might like to do that to begin with, and then.
Yeah, sorry about that. I went under a bridge, so I lost my connections. Hi, my name is Jay, and my company is Magi Studios. And what we do is we help people get started in the world of internet marketing, specifically local businesses who are trying to get online and also learn about what people are saying about your business. And I hail from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada as well. One of the great things that I really like about Google Plus is it brings the globe down to 15 inches. That's the width of my screen. So I'm able to connect with people who are in Mazatlan, Italy, outside London, and also over in Rochester, New York area. So it's literally scaling down the globe to 15 inches, where I can reach out. I can actually almost touch Italy. I just touched Italy right there. You know. The Monty Python finger, right? But I just absolutely love it. We had mentioned earlier about meeting people in the physical world as a result of Google Plus, and that's happened to me a number of times as well. So and actually specifically through Laulan's Hangout, being your own CEO. Carlo is one of our regular members here that come by and hang out, and he's located in Las Vegas. And I was traveling to Las Vegas for a conference, and I had the opportunity, and we managed to connect. And I mean, it was only for a couple of hours, but it was the direct result of Laulan and her Hangouts to be able to bring two random people together as the result of these Hangouts and meet first virtually and then eventually physically. And he's a lot taller than you guys think. I thought he was going to be like this little short guy, and he's like, I don't know, he's like 6'4" or something like that. Really tall, slender guy, And it's really neat to be able to meet people physically, where you have this perception in your head as to what people look like and act like, and it's completely different, And then on the other side of the scope, I've met Laulan before going into the virtual world. So I've known Laulan for, golly, I think we met like 12 years ago at least, 12, 13. Yeah, exactly. And so it's neat to be able to experience both the virtual world first and the physical world first, and that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Google Plus is it brings like-minded individuals into a 15-inch screen.
Mm. And I mean, here we all are sort of talking about the how great it is, etc. But there are so many people who won't do it, and are afraid to do it, and get all caught up and wound up in the technology, and without realizing some of these benefits that we all feel. Yeah.
I think that's something to do with their fear of just social media in general, is that Big Brother is watching kind of thing, So I think it's one of those types of things that you can probably convince them to try to join and whatnot, but like someone who's addicted to something, they need to be ready to change, So yeah, Laulan, I actually have some questions for you for our 100th episode. When you're ready to answer those.
Okay.
Nothing. I'm not hot seating you here, but I just wanted to ask you a few questions, which I think would benefit everyone. So when you're ready, just let me know. Okay.
So, Paul, what about you? I mean, you dance around online. Actually, that very, very first platform that I referred to, I think you were involved with that at one time. So somehow or other, we've met locally as well. But somehow or other, in the online world, I get the sense that you've been involved and had an interest for quite a while. So what was it exactly that drew you to it?
Well, I guess my first experience was something called a magical thing I discovered called a webinar. Now, having been in an airline business and very free to travel, and did a lot of traveling and went to incountable trade shows and meetings and things like that, I was absolutely astounded. I could sit in front of my magic screen and have people present great ideas to me. And as you go down this road, you then, as you would at any large social gathering, you want to get a two-way conversation going, and that led me to look around for platforms that would do that. And here I am. That's the beginning and the end of it. I can't say I'm a huge fan of Google Hangouts, but I certainly understand that they're doing a lot for people, and that it's my ever changing desire that they'll get this thing a little simpler and a little easier for people to use, because it's a wonderful tool. It's just a tad too. It's a tad complex for people, and I think that's part of the challenge. So, but the
I
concept is excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
agree
think
with
that ties
you.
into the culture.
But
Sorry.
we have to point out that Paul's a great fan of Aperion. So
Well, to me it's just simple and easier,
Yeah.
but it has it has a lot of restrictions on it. But
Yeah.
it depends on what you want to do.
hmm That's true. Like Aperion is great for a one-on-one conversation, a quick one-on-one conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, I sat in on something earlier this week, and Heidi, I think you may have been in on one of them. There's a gal now who has just moved away from Google Plus altogether, and who is now just using the live video streaming right from YouTube. So it seems as though there's a number of people that yes, they Google sort of cut a lot of things up into pieces, and everybody sort of went away. But it kind of looks as though some people are coming back, but they're coming back to the YouTube part as opposed to the Google Plus part. So that's kind of an interesting thing to watch. And I don't know that the Hangout is any simpler to do from live streaming.
Are you referring to people gathering similar to Google Hangouts, but using YouTube specifically?
Yeah.
Or just broadcasting?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, the trouble with Hangouts on air is that there's a very kind of convoluted way of inviting people into the green room.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like this platform, because there are a variety of simpler ways to invite people in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember. I actually remember, like, a couple times. Craig here, our friend Craig, has these what we call Labby After Wabbies, which is
Labby After Wabby.
Yeah, the brand of his Hangouts, and basically it's after a specific webinar that I do on Friday nights, and so it's like he rolls out the Persian carpet, lights the candles, unplugs the electricity, and it's just a very laid back kind of situation. But I remember when he first started those, and we kind of did them Hangouts on air, and as you say, it's kind of a weird way of getting people to come in, and it's just because it gets literally broadcasted on the Hangouts on air basically directory. And you'd get people kind of randomly coming in and just kind of wandering and looking and listening, and then randomly leaving as well, and just some people kind of, visually odd, if you will, So it was funny.
Well,
I remember.
Yeah, we got a couple of 12-year-olds and
Yeah. Just kind of like they're kind of curious as to what's a Labby After Wabby, right? And because it sounds, sounds fun, and then here we are all talking about internet business and whatnot. So it's pretty neat to see the kind of people come in for about maybe 10 seconds and then leave right away. So.
But Craig, that Labby After Wabby is now just a straight video call. It's not a Hangout on air.
Well, it's actually a Hangout on air, but very rarely, unless we fill up all 10 spots and there are other people that want to watch, very rarely do we actually broadcast it. So it goes into the recording session. Yeah, we don't record them at this point.
Oh,
so.
I just assumed that they were just video calls, right?
Yeah, they're essentially video calls with 10 people inside, and you know, it's just a bunch of people getting together and having a fun time.
Yeah, which we do every Friday night, which is cool. So, Iwek, let's see if we can hear you now. I know you've got a big, long history of online.
Um,
Oh, we're not getting any voice. We just got a little bit of your voice, and then it cut out again. Gee, I wonder what the problem is. So there's Anna just taking her leave. She told us initially that she had an appointment to attend. So
while Vivek try to figure out his audio, can I ask you my questions? Okay. So my question to you is, my first question, I have 3 of them, and I guess you can kind of already answer this, but what inspired you to get started with Hangouts in terms of the reason? Not like because it looked cool, but what inspired you to kind of get on, you know, online and start with actual Hangouts?
It had to do with my business.
Okay.
I really, because I could see the trend was moving toward doing things online as opposed to face-to-face, and I mean that was a kind of a slow realization for me, because in my coaching work, in the early days, I did them by telephone.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember doing coaching sessions. Well, I did some in-person ones as well in Yellowknife, but I had a lot of clients that lived on the other side of the Arctic, and so the only way we could get together was by phone. And so I learned all my coaching from that perspective of learning to listen and really do things. Well, then when I came to Victoria, I started out with a 1-800 number, if you can believe it. And eventually I realized that was way too expensive, and so then I went to Skype.
Mm-hmm.
And then I began to get feedback from people that would say, telephone is not adequate. If you really want to work with somebody, you need to do it face to face, so that you get their body language and you get the eye to eye contact and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that as like a solution to that. And as it turns out now, I do almost all of my coaching via a one-on-one hangout.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it certainly sounds like a natural evolution
Yeah.
of technology that's happening. Start with
Mm-hmm.
communicate. It sounds like enhancing your communication with your business. So that's cool. So my next question to you is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned by working with Google Hangouts?
To deal with change, to embrace change.
Yeah, and is that based on embracing how Google Plus has changed the technology and how people enter and whatnot? So, and I think that speaks loudly with Google in general, because they tend to be quite famous for pulling the rug from under us all of a sudden for in various different sections or departments with Google. So yeah, I think it's something that I've always thought about embracing change, and I think in terms of technology, I think we need to embrace change, even if it's something where we've immersed ourselves. We've dug our heels in our own technology, and that we need to just learn that they might have to change these things, right? So. Last question for you is, how has Google Hangouts improved your business?
I can't honestly say that it has.
Okay.
Most of my clients have found me probably more through my website.
Let me reword it then. How would you say Google Hangouts has changed your business?
Oh, big time.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of what I do with my clients really does have to do with gaining them gaining comfort with using technology.
Mm-hmm.
And because solopreneurs, they have so many things that they need to do. They need to develop systems that are going to make their business more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say from that perspective, my own business is much more efficient because of what I've learned from other people. But it's also changed to some degree what I work with people about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I envision that you're going to continue to use Hangouts as Hangouts evolves.
Oh,
Similar
absolutely.
to because now you're using I forget what this is called, business Hangouts.
Hangouts, yeah.
Right. So the evolution of it'll be interesting to see the evolution of business Hangouts and Google Hangouts and see how well webbed they become. You know. So.
Well, we sort of don't know. For those who are unaware of business Hangouts, it has just been bought by a big company in the States, and not long ago. So we don't know what's going to be. So I'm seeing a question over here that I probably should try to scroll up. Question for Lowland.
Oh, those are just the questions that I posted.
Those for yours.
Yeah, just for your unified chat. So
thank you.
So people know. You're welcome. Yeah. Well, thank you for answering those questions. I think those are
well. And you know, I going back to what Hangouts have done and so forth. When I say change. And this is going to go kind of link back to what Heidi and Mark were talking about as well. As we age, I have a belief that as we age, we need to guard against contraction. So the whole idea of retirement and not working anymore and all of that, to me that's really contraction. And when we allow ourselves to contract, we're really shutting ourselves down. And so by staying in touch with what's going on in the online world, to me that represents expansion, and it's a way to stay totally connected. I mean, yes, I'm. My friend was asking me what are your plans for your 100th birthday? That was Sue Ferreira said. What are your plans? Well, I don't know if I'm going to last that long, but however long I last, it's going to be in expansion, learning, growing mode, and so. Being involved in this kind of thing is all part of that for me. I don't know whether Heidi and Mark, would you agree that is kind of where your mind goes as well?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because we see so much of what has been programmed for us as old people is a diminution of everything. You know, physical, mental, intellectual, social. You know, just smaller and smaller and smaller circles until you're on a shelf in a nursing home. You know, and that's not what we would design. That's not what you would design.
No, not me either.
This all happened. It was somebody else's idea. We didn't have anything to do with this plan.
Yeah, and we know stay interested and alive mentally, even physically, but physically is not the first thing for me. It's more the mental state, and when we are open and curious, this will save us in some way from the for boredom of older age.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So Weewek, I don't know whether you can, wait, I saw you go out to see whether you can come back in again, but if not, I see you added something here, so give it a shot first. No, we're not hearing him. Isn't that a shame? So his note says, maybe I could just put that up on the screen. Could I do that? Let's see what happens. No, it does not go up on the screen the way it normally does. So I will have to read it. With Google, most of us use their technology for free. So when we eat a free buffet lunch, we can't really complain if the food being served is suddenly changed. You either expand your neocortex or you expand your amygdala. When you allow the amygdala to expand, you become old and fearful. I add the and fearful for sure. Yes, right.
It's like the end of a game show, you know. Thanks for playing. We have some lovely parting gifts for you.
Yeah. So, but I did make a mention that, I mean, my colleagues and I were talking about overcoming the stereotypes of boomers that were looking for work, et cetera, et cetera. But, you know, one of the things that I've noticed about the last few years using technology and, you know, also using this darn thing here, I mean, there was a time when there was a stereotype out there that if you wanted to know anything about technology or smartphones or whatever, find a 12-year-old. Do you remember that phrase? Well, the last time I was walking through Starbucks, which is just down here on the corner, there were all kinds of people in there with white hair, and every one of them had something electronic in front of them. So I think I believe that the technology has been serving to change that stereotype, both for those of us who are there in our what I call the third age, but on the part of the rest of the community. I think that technology is really helping us move forward. So, yeah. So I'm looking at the time, and I know that we all have something to do, and I might just mention I do too. I'm doing a presentation at the Business Women's Group out in the Peninsula this morning, so I need to be there promptly. And I need to be ready and so forth. So I think it's now time for us to wrap up. Thank you so much for helping me celebrate this milestone. And I just want to give our viewers a reminder that I do provide a variety of resources for solopreneurs. On Google+, there's this Being Your Own CEO community. I have a community there. And I have a collection called Supports for Solopreneurs, where I post things that are really of interest to solopreneurs. So, and please don't forget to visit my website, loweland.com. And also, please do find a way to get to know my green room guests here as well. And find a way to come back and join us. I might just say that I guess we would all agree. We've all done a bit of business together, as well as getting to know each other and enjoying each other's company. So this is Loweland signing off for this week, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.